Happy Friday. Friday foolishness. That's a topic. Nonetheless, good morning, and especially good morning to Boston Celtics. How we doing? He is Drew Dinsick. I'm your host, Sara Perlman. Thanks for watching on the NBC Sports EDGE YouTube channel. On today's show, Drew and I will break down the Celtics' big victory in Game 1 of the NBA Finals and what that means now for the rest of the series. And we're also going to discuss how to get involved with the French Open final between Coco Gauff and Iga Swiatek. Plus, one of our researchers, Johnny V. If you don't know him, you're going to learn today. He's been handicapping college baseball all season. He's going to stop by to tell us who he's backing and fading in the College World Series. And our best bets, Edge of the Day, that's coming up, plus a lot more here on Bet the Edge, powered by PointsBet. It's Friday. That's all I got to say. What is going on? How are you doing? Great NBA game last night. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Celtics see us rise. Cuss cries. Usually you make a joke about how like I'm distracted watching tennis.
Correct.
No, I turned it off.
Now.
I've turned it off. Sasha Zverev, he can go home. That was just
you just needed the first set.
He's just teasing me in that first set, up a break, cruising, serve untouchable, and then he lost his mind and he loses. He gives the break back. He takes it to tie break. He plays unbelievable tennis through 8 points of the tie break, up 6-2. Just put away one more point, buddy. He can't do it. He loses the first set. My first set money line plus 200 is a loser. And you know what it was live? It got up to minus 6,600 that he was going to win that first set.
Nadal was 15-1 to win the first set when he was down 2-6 in the tie break. But you know what? I said Friday foolishness. You know the other word I wanted to use is the kid-friendly. So that's what happened today. We move forward. And you know what the good thing is, Drew? I have your undivided attention for the next 30 minutes. You don't have to watch Nadal. That first set bet is over. We move forward. Yep. Yesterday was a good night for the Boston Celtics, for your futures ticket, for Jaylen Brown. I'm going to talk about Jaylen Brown later in the show. Don't you worry. But overall, Celtics come back. Huge fourth quarter. They win 120-108. The over obviously hit. Celtics cover. Your initial reaction and response to now watching the Celtics after Game 1 and how we're going to attack Game 2.
Yeah, so a lot of the first half was okay, cool. Like Celtics, good fight back. All right, I like it. Like no sign of choke.
Welcome to the finals.
Yeah, welcome to the finals. Like no sign of nerves, no sign of the experience being hugely imbalanced. Like they were there to play. It was very cool seeing them take a lead into halftime. And then the third quarter, one-way action for the Warriors was like, are you serious? Come on, guys. You didn't expect this? Like, really? There was like the look on their faces. Like, really? You're surprised the Warriors the Warriors barrage of the third quarter was coming? Like, you should have predicted this. But then the fourth quarter was literally like, if you were like, you could only have one quarter to watch a basketball for the rest of your life on replay, like, I'll take that one. That was such a fun quarter as a Celtics backer. And honestly, like, after the game, Draymond Green is out here getting quoted, giving quotes like, well, we were ahead for most of the game. So, no reason to panic. And it's like, dude, did you not see like what was happening in that fourth quarter? Like that reaction in and of itself was it should be concerning if you're a Warriors fan or a backer, that there was not more urgency, but from Draymond Green in the wake of that collapse. Because honestly, if you go back and look at the way that went down, it was not lucky shots. There were 2 lucky 3-pointers made by Derek White. The rest of those threes that the Celtics buried were wide open looks. They were running their good offense. They saved their good offense for the fourth quarter, by the way. They were running their good offense. The Warriors defense had no answer. They had guys that had 6 to 12 feet of separation getting off 3-pointers. And those are guys that bury threes at a high clip. And so the fact that it was one-way traffic Celtics in the fourth, considering the way that they were operating, was not surprising. And, I think the better, kind of the more encouraging notes for the Celtics backers was the way that their defense adjusted in the fourth quarter. You mentioned it, the Warriors only scored 16 points. Like, if the Warriors make a couple more layups or make a couple more threes, that's probably a more competitive fourth quarter, and it's a little bit of a sweat for a Celtics Game 1 money line. But the Celtics basically had 3 or 4 guys dedicated to Steph, and were like, anyone else beat us, we dare you. Draymond Green, we'll give you the entire half of the court. Take a 3, we dare you. And the Warriors had nothing that they could offer offensively. There were some possessions late in that game where Steph, like the play was obviously to try to get Steph a wide open look from three, and the Celtics had two guys rotate and have a hand in his face. It was awesome to see. Celtics are absolutely a clicking machine. They're a machine right now. I'll save some of the drama for the end, edge of the day here, but
we're going to
giving us another 4 points for game 2.
Well, now if we look at the series prices, Celtics are favored -165. And obviously, I think you perfectly described the fourth quarter. It was incredible. And I stay up late nowadays. So happy I didn't somehow toes off. Best fourth quarter I've seen probably in an extremely long time, especially backing the Celtics last night with you, taking the points. 40-16 in favor of the Celtics in the fourth quarter. It was fantastic. How'd you not bring up Al Horford? That's what I'm wondering. I heard it's his birthday. I think I saw that on Twitter today. What an NBA Finals debut for Al Horford. Regardless, if you're just an NBA fan, you like humans and you like people to see them. You like to see people succeed rather after playing so long in the league. That was also extremely fun to watch. And he's now 16-1 to win Finals MVP. We'll see how that plays out. We are going to break down this game more for Edge of the Day, but I think I'm going to run through some of the player props last night. We talked about it leading into this show, but Steph Curry over 3.5 threes. That came home in the first quarter. Jordan Poole, his under came home. Klay Thompson, under points came home. Jason Tatum, big underburger on the points for last night. Al Horford, though, over 10.5 points. Easy money. Al Horford, 26 points, 9 for 12 shooting. I mentioned now he's the third favorite, I think, or fourth favorite rather, to win MVP of the Finals. Game 2. Brief thoughts. I know you're going to give your pick at the end of the game for Sunday. I will as well, our Edge of the Day, both of those games. Early this morning, I was personally surprised to see money coming in on Golden State. We're looking at 4.5 right now. Our producer, Adam, and I were briefly chatting before we jumped on air, before you came on, Drew. And will this touch 5 in your opinion? Will enough money get on the Warriors for game 2? And can we get a 5 by Sunday night?
I can't imagine, honestly. If that happens, so be it. But the idea. So here's the thing. We saw the Warriors. They don't have a ton of adjustments in their war chest. They don't. Literally, like, their entire secret weapon throughout the regular season has been, we're just going to flip the switch in the third quarter. We're going to play a little harder. We're going to try it. We're going to hustle a little more on defense. We're going to let Steph kind of take the governor off and let him shoot more threes. Like, those adjustments are not going to be good enough. They're just not. They're going to need to find a way to get offense out of some other player that is not Steph Curry, and that is going to be challenging against what is a very complete team defense for the Celtics. And so I don't really have any answers for the Warriors. If they called me up and they were like, "Look, dude, you had a good read on the series. Give us some tips and some adjustments we need to get back into this thing," I don't really know what to tell them. Like, there's not a good way to really make this Boston Celtics team pay if you don't have a player named Giannis. And so I don't see it happening personally, that the Celtics, the Warriors are going to be able to bounce back without, the Celtics just completely no showing in terms of shooting in this one. And so, the fact that the total has been adjusted up as high as it is doesn't seem right to me. This feels like
that's
it's
really
be a tighter,
interesting looking at the reaction in the market for the total now at 215. We saw yesterday 210.5. That got steamed as we were even on air getting ready for game 1. So obviously the game 2, 5 points higher than the opening total for game 1. There were 41 3-pointers made in game 1. NBA Finals record for most threes in a game. It's moving a bunch now back down to 214. I will be curious to see Sunday night where this total lands. I'm not getting involved for the reasons that we saw last night. Any fourth quarter breakdown from either side blows this total. Obviously, either way, you're playing it. So staying away from the total. I know you have a play in this game on the side, as we mentioned. We'll get to that. But 85% of the bet count, 94% of the spread handle for game 2 on the Golden State Warriors as of now. And then 86% of the handle coming in on the over for game 2 for Sunday night as well. So same similar action as we saw for game 1.
The only kind of easy tweak that the Warriors can make is to tighten up their perimeter defense a little bit better. Overcommit to defending the 3-point line, give up a little bit more at the rim. Like, big deal. Like, if you're giving up threes, you're out of this game. If you're giving up twos, you just need to hit your threes and you're still in this game. So realistically, I think you're going to see a little bit tighter game, a little bit lower scoring game, particularly in the first half. But once the Celtics figure out exactly what the Warriors are doing to tweak their perimeter defense, I would expect them to attack the rim early and often. This feels like a Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum kind of an explosion sort of a game at the rim. Realistically, I think the Celtics win a close one, and I think it comes in way under the total.
Okay. Again, we're going to break down this game in just a little bit, but a reminder, if you don't have the NBC Sports Predictor app powered by PointsBet, go download it now. The contests are free and easy to play, and you have a shot to win thousands by predicting what will happen in the NBA playoffs, on the PGA Tour, and NASCAR circuit. Obviously, the NBA Finals going on has us thinking about it constantly, especially after last night. But you think differently. You think about the French Open nonstop, and that's where we need to go, getting into the women's side with Iga. Talked about her a little bit. Over the last year, I've learned a lot about Iga, taking on Coco Gauff now. By the way, Iga Swiatek minus 800, Coco Gauff plus 480. What are we doing with this match tomorrow?
Well, Iga recently turned 21. So she's now legal drinking age.
I'm wearing a Budweiser
she could, she could pop. I think the rules are probably different in Europe, but she could pop some champagne here as she wins her second ever French Open. But yeah, no, Iga has been superlative this fortnight. She has dropped one set. That one set came at the hands of a tiebreak to Zheng Xuan. It was a very competitive set, and she was up 5-2 in that first set, 5-2 in the tiebreak, ended up conceding. But all that said, she came into this tournament with a little bit of pressure, which is unusual. Usually Iga plays with no pressure. She's just out there firing bullets and, seems unflappable. But you could feel that she was playing with a little bit more pressure through the first 4 rounds of this tournament until she came back and, she dropped the set against Zheng. And then she seemed to take a little bit of the pressure off because she was on just an absolute streak of not dropping a set. She comes out the next match. The market had kind of lost a little bit of a love for her, and you had a fair price to back her against Pegula, and then an unbelievably good price to back her against Dasha Kasatkina, who she is perfect matchup against. And so it was fun to bet against Iga straight sets the last 2 rounds, and continued to add to what has been an awesome, fortnight backing her in general. And now she takes on Coco Gauff in the finals, and Coco Gauff is no slouch. She is an up-and-coming women's tennis player from the United States. If you have not seen or heard of her before, she is a former junior champion here at Roland Garros. In fact, she won the juniors here in the same bracket with Iga Swiatek when she was a junior. Iga lost in the semifinals to Kat McNally. Coco beat Kat in the finals, wins the gold, the silver plate or whatever they give the juniors. And Coco Gauff is most comfortable on clay, is comfortable playing in Paris. And she, believe it or not, is the cleaner player coming into this final, having not dropped a set at all this fortnight.
So take me through minus 770 for Iga.
Yeah.
And plus 480.
Well,
get involved.
There's an Iga tax there, and it's big because honestly, fair price, probably Iga minus 425, minus 450. And so what we saw was 2 matches in a row where the market was a little cool on her, a little nervous about her, a little bit unwilling to get involved with the, with the super heavy sets and super heavy prices. And then in that semifinals, she was unstoppably good and so superlatively good, specifically in that second set, that the market now is back on, now we believe in her again. Right. And so this opened up in the minus 600 range. I did a double take. I was like, 600. Wow. Okay, fine. I guess they're expecting Iga money. Well, they got Iga money. It's out to 770. And that is a prohibitively high number. Again, my fare is around minus 425, which means my fare for Coco Gauff is plus 425. Am I betting Gauff?
For people looking to get involved, whether it's set betting, you want to attack the games, because I'm looking to get involved. I have nothing on Iga, nothing in the futures market for Coco Gauff, but I'm not laying 770. No.
So what happens in tennis when you have a big underdog like this? So let's talk about this. Plus 480. We'll just call it plus 500. We'll call it 5-1 on Gauff. That means that the market thinks she has a 1 in 6 chance of winning this match. That is too low. She has a better than 1 in 6 chance of winning. And what do you do with that information? You either bet her but you only get one shot. You can't bet her 6 times and expect to win one of those 6, right?
Mhm.
So you can skip the money line on Coco and attack one of the derivatives, because there is always correlation between the money line price and the games line and the total. And in this case, you have a very low total of 19.5, which is basically saying Iga is going to straight set her comfortably. Like, to come in under 19.5, this has to be Iga 6-3, Iga 6-4. That's a very, very, very comfortable win in a finals against a player who has not dropped a set this tournament, who is playing with confidence, and who has some weapons that can trouble Iga, whose serve is good enough to kind of hold, and and in general, her return game definitely good enough to take a serve or two off of Iga. So I think realistically, we're talking about a pretty competitive match here. Ultimately, I think the first set especially will be competitive. So the fact that there is value on the dog here, you can either take Goff plus 5.5, which I don't love,
Plus
or you can take
104 right now.
over 19.5, which I think is the right play.
Okay,
Over
plus
19.5
102.
is a beauty. If we get 7-5, 7-6, if the first set goes to a tiebreak, then 19.5
Coming
home free.
Perfect.
So realistically, Goff can compete early, take the first set deep, and then whatever happens in the second set happens. You don't have to worry about her getting blown out 6-2, 6-1 in the second set and losing your handicap. But over 19.5, I think, is the safest way to attack this one. And realistically, I think we're going to look at Iga winning. I'll call it 7-5, 6-3.
Okay. I'll hold you to that. I'm going to get involved with the total over games 19.5 plus 102, like the plus money. And obviously your analysis helps me back that. But we do have a semifinal on the men's side coming up. That's at 12 p.m. today. What do we do with this? Because the second we hop off air, I would like to bet in to the men's semifinals.
Yeah. So right now, the Rafa Nadal, Sasha Zverev match is ongoing. Sasha Zverev is up 3-2, but I will be blown away if he manages to win a set at this point because of his mental hurdles getting over the finish line in any of these sets. That said, Nadal probably through to the finals, where he will likely take on Marin Cilic, the underdog in the second semifinal match.
Plus 175 today.
I don't see it, man. I don't think that is a fair price at all. These two players are dead even the way that they are playing this fortnight. Ruud is in general a little bit of an overrated player. He's not a fraud. He's perfectly fine on clay. He's got like 8 titles, 7 of them, I believe, are on clay. But realistically, he only beats the lesser players on tour. He's what I like to think of as like the top 10 barometer, right? If you are a top 10 player, then you are going to beat him. If you are not a top 10 player, he is going to defeat you. And so he kind of serves as that line in my mind in men's tennis. And Cilic right now is playing top 10 tennis. His clay game has been unbelievable this fortnight. And I think realistically, you're going to see a relatively clean, long first set, probably a first set tiebreak. I think Cilic wins that tiebreak and then ultimately goes on to win the set 3-1 and you win the match 3-1. But first set tiebreak, yes, is a fun way to play it. You can get that at 3-1. And then Cilic to win outright at plus 175 is a fun way as well.
Okay. Love both those looks. Fairly quickly before we move on, for the total games, 38.5, the over is juiced, minus 125. Stay away?
Yeah. Slight over for me. I make this 40.
Okay.
But I didn't play it.
Well, actually, it's funny. It's now 39.5 for total game. So minus 110 on both sides.
Directionally correct move, in my opinion. Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. That's at 12 people looking to get involved now. Then you could find some plus money.
Ruud's serve has been good enough and his return has been poor enough that I think you're going to see a couple of tie breaks in this one. A tiebreak is a 13 game set. And those extra 3 games, because a normal, like the most common scoreline in a tennis set is 6-4. One player gets a break and then holds their serves and wins 6-4. That's your most common outcome in any tennis match, right? Any tennis set. 7-6, which is a tiebreak score line, is an extra 3 games. And if you have a couple of tie breaks in this set, then it's probably going to cruise over 39.5. And you can't get to 30. You can't get to 40 with only 3 sets. You're going to need a four setter in order to get there. But if you have 2 tie breaks in a 4-set match, your average games is about 42. So I think that's what we're looking at here. A 4-setter, a couple of tie breaks, and probably in the 40 to 42 range.
Okay. I'm excited to watch that coming up. If you're watching us live here on the YouTube channel, that's at 12 p.m. Eastern. Completely side story. We're going to move on because I've been watching so much tennis, Roland Garros. I asked my fiance the other day, do you think I can get, I'm not good at tennis. I mean, I'm fine. Like, you think I can get 1 point against, I don't know what women's doubles I was watching in singles. He's like, no. I'm like, I don't think so either. But I'm like, out of 100 serves or rallies.
You can get one.
I'm like, can I get one? Like, I just need a mistake. Like, can you get 1 point against Nadal? Like,
yeah, you just need one framed return to barely make it over the net. And then
that's what I need. I just need to stand there and just hope the power off my racket.
Are you going to win a rally? Probably not. But are you going to get one return in that happens to dribble, hit the net once and it bounces over and then dribbles on the other side of the court? Yeah, of course.
Like, the odds for 1 point are like plus 100 with me, and I think I would take it. Nonetheless.
Yeah, that's a fair price, I think.
Okay, weekends are better with MLB Sunday leadoff coverage presented by Uber Eats. Catch the Tigers taking on the Yankees in the Bronx on Sunday, June 5th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, live on NBC and Peacock. To learn more, go to peacocktv.com/MLB. And if you want a chance to win $25,000 on the game, download the NBC Sports Predictor app powered by PointsBet. Enter Sunday's free Grand Slam Pick'em contest. Let's talk a little baseball. Not MLB, though. That's on Sunday. Get involved with the Predictor app. We're going to talk College World Series. We have the man, the myth, the legend, one of our very own researchers, Johnny TV, now joining us live. And Johnny, I know you cap college baseball, and we're excited to have you on. We haven't talked a lot now about getting ready for the road to Omaha. So overall, we look at the College World Series futures market. What pops to you? Where do you think there's some value on the board?
Well, first off, thanks for having me, guys. Honestly, last night I had trouble sleeping for a couple reasons. One, I was really excited to come on. And two, the Padres closer, Trevor Rogers, decided to blow my layup money line against the Brewers by allowing the bottom of that Brewers lineup to come and score 5 unanswered runs. So, I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
You know what they say? You know what they say, Johnny? The classic saying. Among college baseball coverage, we sleep in July. We sleep in July, Johnny. The road to Omaha is incredibly fun, and there has been one team that has stood out head and shoulders above the rest in college baseball. Who are they, and what is the case to be made for them winning the title at the current price?
So the Tennessee Volunteers, as I've called them for the last few months, they are to college baseball what the LA Dodgers are to the MLB, or what everybody wants the Dodgers to be the MLB. And I'll bet you one thing, the Tennessee Volunteers wouldn't get swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates. I can guarantee you that. But they are, listen, they're the bully that your parents warned you about growing up. They are so good because they're so deep in so many ways. Offensively, they hit over 140 taters this year, like it's nothing. And my personal favorite, after somebody hits a home run, they put that player in a fur coat and a daddy hat. This team embodies their head coach, Tony Vitello. He's Italian, even though he's from Missouri. Their pitching is what really separates them, though. They have 4 number 1 aces, 4 guys that are probably going to be first rounders when they choose to leave school. 4 guys that could probably be the ace on pretty much any team in the country. Now, most teams have a good ace guy, Friday guy. A lot of teams have a good 1-2. Almost nobody has a good 1-2-3, and absolutely nobody has a 1-2-3-4 like Tennessee. And then we didn't even talk about Ben Joyce, the kid that had drawn everybody to Tennessee. He throws 106. He's the Lamborghini you take out on a Sunday. He's not even their closer. He's not their setup guy. He's not a starter. He's just a low leverage closer, which speaks to the type of depth this team has to be able to guy that throws that hard. That's just we'll get him some work when we can. I think Tennessee, who I've been running around HQ and Stam Vegas for the last few months saying, hey, do you want to make some money? Go throw a ticket on Tennessee.
And they're the clear favorite at plus 250 right now at PointsBet. So obviously, I know you're high on them. A lot of college baseball analytics and announcers rather are high on Tennessee and the Volunteers as well. So the clear favorite, but plus 250, that's a short price right now as we're getting ready to invest in futures markets. So I know you have a ticket on them prior. It seems like you recommend them to win at plus 250, but what's another team that you like that I personally am looking to get a little bit of more value, more bang for my buck as we get ready for the tournament?
So initially, and Drew will remember this, it was Texas A&M a few weeks ago. I had PointsBet. I told everybody, I was like, they made a huge mistake in price. They were plus 7,000. 2 days later, and that was when they were 6th in the country. 2 days later, they're plus 4,000. Now, a couple weeks later, they're plus 2,500. I still think they're going to make noise, but the value, Miami Hurricanes are the team that I've been looking at. To me, I equate them to the college baseball version of the Milwaukee Brewers. Great pitching staff, top to bottom, one of the best in the country, led by ace Carson Palmquist, a lefty, sits low 90s with a nice slide piece. And then you have the best closer in the country in Andrew Walters. Except for the one game against Notre Dame, not the last start, but the one before that, he had only allowed one earned run all season. He's literally like Mariano. When he comes in, it's like the Sandman enters. The kid is absolutely unhittable. I think Miami, with their pitching staff, and they have a few stallions on offense like Yohandy Morales, CJ Kafis, Jacob Burke, Maxwell Romero. I think in a winnable region that they have, they should be able to get past into the super regionals and make a lot of teams uncomfortable with the way they can pitch. And I got to be honest, the Hurricanes are probably the happiest team that NC State got snubbed and didn't make it in. So I think they have a really, really good chance to make it far.
Okay, cool. So the draw works well. We'll pull for a Canes Vols College World Series final. That would be money in pocket at that point. So fantastic look. Is there a team in the mix here towards the top of the board that you think the market is wildly overrating?
Absolutely. That's the Arkansas Razorbacks. So fun fact, I went 6-3 in my college bets in the conference tournaments last week. 2 of those losses were Arkansas. Now, they're strange because they have a pretty good bullpen, and they had one really good starter by the name of Connor Noland throughout most of the year. And their 2-3 starter, they don't do it for me. So this kid Noland, his last 3 starts has allowed at least 5 earned runs. This is poor timing. The Arkansas Razorbacks have gone ice cold. They got absolutely bounced in the SEC tournament. Their situational hitting has been terrible. They've left about 34 runners on base over their last 6 games. They're playing bad defense. And, you're going in a tough regional here. I just don't see them getting out of this regional. But if
they have a difficult region.
Yeah, exactly. If they do, I don't think they're making it. If they get out of this game, I mean, the game against Grand Canyon, because I actually have Grand Canyon upsetting them. I don't think they're making it out of the regional.
Wow, that'd be a big upset from Grand Canyon today. They've lost their last 4 games in a row, and obviously they've dropped in the rankings, as you've discussed. So 25-1, maybe not getting involved in that. I'm going to put you on the spot here because when guests come on, especially when we talk about the futures market, whether we're betting into the NBA or college basketball, as we get ready for the tournament, this is similar. I look for a long shot, a team that can make some noise. Things break their way. We like their region. Who fits that script for you?
So since it's no longer the Aggies, I got to go with the Oklahoma Sooners. They were not good in the first half of the year. They had a lot of struggles. And in the second half, they've absolutely charged in the back 9, 19-8 over their last 27 games. They're 60-1 right now. And honestly, they were 22nd in the country rankings. And then after the weekend they had where they won the Big 12 championship, they're number 9 now. And what makes them so difficult is the fact that they could run like nobody else can. They wreak havoc on the base paths. They have 135 steals this year. That's by far the most out of any remaining team in the tournament. They have more guys on this team that can steal bases than there are Scars guards running around Hollywood. Swiper, yes, swiping. 5 guys with at least 10 stolen bases. They're led by the Kevin Durant of college baseball, 6'4", 170-pound Peyton Graham. The kid's batting .340 with 16 tanks and 30 steals. They got good pitching, a deep lineup, and they are red hot. Nobody wants to see them.
Fantastic. The Kevin Durant of college baseball. Okay.
170 pounds, 6'4".
There's a cut. That's a big boy, yeah, I guess, but Kevin Durant's like 6'11". The match, the painting the grand picture was fantastic there. Thank you for all of that. And I got your tip on the Grand Canyon Antelopes taking down the Arkansas Razorbacks. That'll be fun. Any other game-by-game action that we can get involved with early in these regionals?
Yeah, so I actually had Oklahoma today against Liberty. That's just a quick one. But my Arizona money line versus Ole Miss, another team I had fading, got rained out because the Coral Gables region, it's seeing a lot of bad weather in Miami, and it's getting pushed to tomorrow, maybe even Sunday. Oklahoma's won against Liberty. But then the one I think everybody wants to see, at least me, is Tennessee today. They're playing Alabama State. So I talked about how good Tennessee is, right? They can put up 20 runs by themselves. They could drop a 20 bean, no question. They put up 27 against Mississippi State a couple weeks ago, the reigning NCAA champions from last year, who didn't even make the tournament. But they have all these guys that could hit at least 10 home runs. They have Trey Lipscomb. They have Drew Gilbert. They have Ortega, Jordan Beck. There's just so many guys that could hit in this team on this lineup. And they play in a small ballpark, led the league in home runs. And honestly, the pitcher they're probably going against, I would say, is Breon Pooler. He doesn't allow a lot of home runs this year, playing in Alabama State, whatever. But he's walked a ton. Over 40 walks in about 84 innings. Tennessee is going to make you pay. They might put up a 30 bean today.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're not going to get involved with the minus 4,000, and you could look at their team total. But I like the look on the over. I've seen a little bit of actually money come in on the over. This was 12.5, but I think because of the reasons, a lot of power in that lineup, multiple guys. I think there's 8 players on Tennessee now with double-digit bombs on that team. So
how many runs would you lay with Tennessee today?
So they're 8.5. Their run line is 8.5 today. Never seen anything like it. Listen, I don't want to bet against them. You know what I'm saying? Because Blake Tidwell's on the mound for
8.5 run line.
8.5.
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of it either, honestly. But Blake Tidwell, who was pitching for Tennessee, was supposed to be their ace coming into the season. He just came back from a shoulder injury a couple months ago. He's working his way back, but he's been pretty good lately. And like I said, Tennessee putting up 15
no
to
one's
20
taking
runs
their run line with Alabama State. I'll just say that. If you're going to get involved, you're probably getting involved with the favorite. A better way to target this is probably the total.
I mean, if they hang a 30 bean.
If they hang a 30 bean, that's what
you might as well lay the 8.5. I mean,
he's not just one of our amazing researchers for NBC Sports Edge. Johnny does a great job handicapping college baseball. You can read his handicap on the site, NBCSportsEdge.com. He also has amazing analogies and does stuff like taters, 30 beans, calling people daddy randomly. So there's a lot to get to know with Johnny. But hey, we appreciate you. Best of luck with all your plays. And I hope your plays are butter today, Johnny.
Everything's going to be butter today. And quick one that you guys got to watch today, Sara, we're talking off air. You guys need to watch at 12 o'clock coming up, this UCLA-Florida State game. It's probably the best pitching match of the day with UCLA's Max Rajic, one of the best in the game, and Florida State's Parker Messick. He's one of the strikeout kings of college baseball this year. So it's going to be a really good one.
Okay. Thank you, Johnny. You can find him on Twitter at JohnnyVTV. I got to start using some of those words. His analogies are way better than my vocabulary. It's the 30 bean for me, but I like his looks in college baseball. I haven't been watching a ton of college baseball, to be completely transparent, but now's when it really starts to get fun. We've been a little busy watching the NBA, some MLB. But also getting healthier. Our voice has been a little off.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a 30 bean piece pick for my edge of the day. I don't think you do either. But I am curious, as we wrap up the show on this Friday, I want your best bet for game 2 of the NBA Finals, Drew.
I'm going back to the well. Surprise. I don't think
Everyone saw that.
I don't think 4.5 is the right price. Surprise. Yeah, I mean, this is like the weird, funny thing you're going to hear as people handicap this or talk about this game as they get up to Sunday. Like, because the Warriors can't afford to go down 0-2, they're somehow going to play better. It's a weird narrative-y kind of nonsense that I just can't really get behind. If you can tell me that there are specific adjustments the Warriors can make that give them a tactical advantage in game 2 over the Celtics and therefore will level the series, I will listen to those arguments. If you are telling me that the Warriors are they want it more and they can't afford to go down 0-2, I will laugh in your face, because that is not enough of a reason to bet on a team that is not as good as their opponents. Their opponents who, by the way, play incredibly well on the road. And so I think realistically, this is going to be a hard-fought game. If the Warriors, and again, as we talked about on the top, I'm not exactly sure what they can do. to give themselves a tactical advantage in this head-to-head. And for those reasons, I think ultimately the Celtics will win and go back to Boston with the 2-0 lead.
I would love to see nothing more than that. And the comments coming in, I've seen a few throughout our show, and I am reading this. Yeah, the Warriors price.
Yeah. It's a bigger number than yesterday.
And you did mention on yesterday's show, we might not even get a better price than 3.5. Well, we are even after they won, but the market obviously, and a lot of people betting on the Warriors for game 2. But the argument, I think what you're referring to, which I totally side with, it's a lazy argument. They need to win game 2. Yeah, of course. Everyone needs to win game 2. It's the NBA Finals. Both teams do.
Hey, spoiler alert. The Warriors wanted to win game 1. They did. They wanted to. Let's just
be honest on this Friday show. The Warriors wanted to win game 1.
They weren't trying to make this harder on themselves. They wanted to win game 1. I promised you that. I promise you.
I'm in agreement with you. We're seeing eye to eye. I like the points with the Boston Celtics, but a way that I'm getting involved with not just the points, and I took the Celtics in 6, so I'm hoping that obviously comes home as well. I like Jaylen Brown. I loved him yesterday, and you know what? I took him for the NBA Finals MVP. You could have found him close to 12-1 before tip-off, and now it's come down. But now we've already attacked that market. We're going to look at his assist market. 3.5 assists on Sunday, Drew. You tell me why this is plus 125, because I'm squinting at my computer this morning trying to figure out why this is so low. He had 5 assists last night. He's averaging 5 assists over his last 10 games. I think we're seeing 3.5 because Tatum was so forced to be a playmaker. Not a great shooting performance from him last night. He put up a career high 13 assists. People are now running to the well to back Jason Tatum in the assist market. But I think combined with the fact that Jaylen Brown was fantastic in game 1, along with Al Horford, arguably the difference maker, positive regression for Jason Tatum shooting-wise, it's going to be a big Jaylen Brown game again. So I like the Celtics. I like the points with the C's. I like the assist market, not only for Jaylen Brown, also Jason Tatum. But I said this to you before we came on air, which was interesting. Jaylen Brown either scored or assisted 20 of the Celtics' first 23 points of the fourth quarter. So all aboard the Celtics train. Over 3.5 assists, Jaylen Brown. No idea why this number is. Makes no sense.
Yeah, so going back to sort of the original, how does this series work? The Celtics will likely roll out in game 1 the same plan that worked so effectively in the fourth quarter of game 2. They're going to roll out the same plan that worked so effectively in the fourth quarter of game 1. That's just the way these things go. And what exactly is what worked is exactly what you said. And I don't even really know if people noticed it or saw it, but Jaylen Brown was supremely good at facilitating last night. And I would expect 100% that is sort of the plan A early for these guys. And, assuming that the Celtics can knock down their threes, Jaylen Brown is going to get that number pretty comfortably. Now, I think the Warriors are going to have to overcommit to defending the 3 at some point, either because the Celtics continue to punish them early in game 2, or because they come into the game 2 with that plan to sell out to stop the 3. And at that point, I do think the opportunities will be there for both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to get to the rim. I mean, let's be honest, Tatum's going to get a 30 bean here. I don't think you can really count against that. And Jaylen Brown could as well. So let's go Celtics.
Rooting for Celtics on Sunday. The points, I like the assist market, and I'm going to get involved in the point props as well, but they've been kind of moving a ton early this morning. And most of the money coming in on the over for the game, as we mentioned, at PointsBet. And with the Warriors, and as many times as we could say a 30 bean in the next week, I'm going to say it on this show. I want a 30 bean from both my guys, and especially Jaylen Brown. Hey, that's all we have for you this week on Bet the Edge, powered by PointsBet. It's been a Friday foolishness day, and that's how we leave it here. Best of luck with all your bets, not just for today, for the weekend. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you right back here Monday on the NBC Sports Edge YouTube channel. Have a great weekend.